Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie and welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the glare there. We'll get rid of that in a sec when we open the book. This is my February completed pages. I think I've done better. Well, I definitely did better than January. My back is much better and I can sit for longer. And I just sort of felt inspired in February. I still have some work to do on my big swatching project that I talked about in my January completed pages, and then I had a couple of videos there where I just filmed myself swatching the Winsor & Newton alcohol markers, but I have to do some of the water-based stuff still for that swatching project. But in the meantime, I did some coloring in some books. So let's take a look at what I did. So we've got some Rita Berman there, Joanna Basford, and then some mandalas. So let's take a look at the mandalas first. It was, of course, Valentine's Day in February, and I just did this one here. It's very simple. You're probably looking at it thinking, it's not very Valentine's colors, Connie. No, I don't know. I think I was still kind of feeling down in the dumps about my back, and I was frustrated. I don't know what it was. But, yeah, so I did, this is just alcohol marker and glitter gel pen. It's a very, very muted palette. It's the alcohol markers, like I think it was the blue-gray markers from Spectrum Noir. And then, let's tilt this, there's a Sparkle Pop Silver on there. There's a white Uniball Signo. And I think there's another glitter marker, glitter gel pen on there. It's from the 10 Mit set. I keep talking about the 10 Mit set. I don't know if I've ever shown it. Hang on one sec. It is... Sorry, you can probably hear my chair rolling there. This guy here. So it comes in its own case. There are 80 glitter gel pens. So it opens up like that. So you've got 80 there. It comes with a refill pack. And I really, really like this set. These are all glitter, so there's nothing else in here. So there's 80 different glitter colors, which is pretty good. There are larger glitter sets, but the flow on these ones... Now, I bought this a number of years ago. I would say maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if the quality has changed. But, yeah, there seems to be a fair amount of ink in the pens. The flow is good. You know, you're not fighting with it. And as with most glitter gel pens, excuse me, they're not super opaque, right? Because they're not... There's glitter and there's a dye in there, but it's not like a metallic gel pen where it's opaque. But there are a few in here that almost seem like they're a combination between metallic and glitter, if that makes sense. This is a swatch card that comes with this pretty teeny swatches, but there's a couple right down there. Ooh, I don't know if I can get it to focus or not. There's one called Cold Blue. It's glitter Cold Blue. Glitter Pastel Turquoise is another one. And the glitter Cold Blue in particular, it's almost like it looks like it's metallic silver blue with glitter in it too. And so it's this guy here. And you can almost kind of see that. Oh, maybe you can't. If you look at the, I don't know if you can see that or not. If you look at the ink in the barrel, there's like an opacity to it. So yeah, that was one of the ones that I've been using just for kind of winter time on some of those Snowflake mandalas too. It's just, it's cold blue. It's a very wintry kind of color, right? So that was in here as well. And then, yeah, that was my Valentine mandala, which isn't very Valentine, but well. So I did that. I actually did another Valentine page, but we'll get to that when we get to the Rita Berman. So I did a couple more in this Snowflake mandala book. I've just been having a blast in here. I have done lots of them with, combinations of alcohol marker and gel pens. And so this is one that I did in February. Again, alcohol marker background. And then various types of gel pens. I think I've got some of the darker gel pen bits kind of on the edge here. That's one of those Pentel Dual Metallic. Looks like the... which one that is? It's like turquoise. And then the white, because on these Snowflake mandalas, whenever there's white, it's not just that I've left it white, I've actually colored it white with, you know, there's a couple different white sort of media that I use. On this one, I think that is the Jelly Roll white glaze pen. So Jelly Roll makes glaze pens in a whole bunch of colors, right? The black glaze is very popular. I actually prefer the clear glaze because you can put that over top of anything. And so, I mean, if you color something black and put the clear glaze over top, it still looks like black glaze. But you can get a clear glaze, but you can also get a white glaze. And you have to be careful. They're very similar looking. The cap on the white glaze looks a little whiter, whereas this cap does look, I don't know, more clear, if that makes sense. The ink inside, it's very difficult to tell apart, although there's a little bit more white to the tinge to the white ink. I don't use the white very often, but I don't know, just grabbed it, thought I'd use it on here. So yeah, all of the white kind of line work in there, that's the white Jelly Roll glaze. You can see it does have a shine. The turquoise here in the background, that's another alcohol marker. All this warm gray in the background, that's an alcohol marker. There is some turquoise gel pen kind of coloring here. And I think that's probably a Jelly Roll souffle, if I had to guess. It's got some shine to it, you can see there, but I don't think that's a color that occurs in the glaze line. I think that's a souffle color, which when you put them down also tend to have kind of a shiny look. The souffle don't puff up as much as they would on, because that's the whole point to the souffle pens, right? They're supposed to be almost like a 3D, but they don't tend to puff up as much on paper. That's more, they do more of their puffing on harder surfaces, like if you were coloring on glass or on, you know, the side of a mug you were decorating or something. I think there's more puffiness there, but yeah, there's some nice colors and they have kind of a shine, so that's kind of cool. And then I'm trying to think of the order I did these in. You know what? I think I just did them in order like this. So the next one I did was, and this is the previous video, I think, to this one, that you guys might have seen. I did this one, which doesn't look like a mandala, but it is. I was just having fun and just playing and experimenting with kind of almost like a mixed media approach. So the mandala itself isn't kind of the main focus of this. In fact, the coloring on the mandala, if I look at it, it's pretty messy. But it was almost like the mandala was rising or setting behind all these trees and the scene, so you could view it as the sun or, you know, whatever you want. But yeah, if you want to have sort of a walkthrough of how I did this page, I will try and remember to post the link to the video in the description down below. But it's just some distress ink for the sort of sunset background, stencils, stamps. Yeah, these little mice down here, they're stamps. Yeah, the little lanterns here, those are stamps. So there's sparkle in the mandala. I think that's most of the sparkle that's on here. There's a little bit of sparkle in the lanterns, and a little lantern the mouse is holding. But yeah, I sort of, it's not a color along in the sense that you don't actually see me create this page because I didn't think to record that. It was really a spur of the moment kind of, I don't know, I was feeling very, let's just go for it. So I don't know, I didn't think to record it, but yeah, but what I do is I walk you through, we look at the final page and I walk you through sort of the order of steps that I did to be able to create this. So that was super fun. I would like to do more of that. I do enjoy coloring mandalas. So there's something that I like coloring. But it's also fun to take a mandala and just create a scene out of it. And I have done this a couple times before. Of course, in January, I did that one, which is the same kind of, winter sunset. And then I think I also did that one in January, just a black background with the sort of birch tree stencil. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun doing that. So there was that one. So we had that one, just plain mandala. That one, did another plain mandala. I'm not as enamored of the color choices here. They're very muted. I think the only gel pen, again, it was alcohol marker. Yeah. The only gel pens I used on here, it looks to me like Silver Sparkle Pop and the white Uniball Signal. The colors I had purchased, where are they? In my January-February haul, I was supposed to have a haul, a 6-pack of these new Faber-Castell alcohol Goldfaber sketch markers. Now, you guys might be familiar with this pen design. Grab one here. So here we've got the Faber-Castell Goldfaber Aqua dual marker. So they make a water-based one, and they've had this one out for a couple of years. And it's got a nice brush tip. And it's a little bit bigger than a fine liner. It's like a really teeny bullet tip. And so they've had this, excuse me, the Goldfaber Aqua. And they've recently come out with sort of an alcohol marker version of that. It's the same basic kind of body design. Still has the brush tip and then like a really teeny bullet tip. They're really expensive though. So I got a 6-pack, and I think it was called the Fashion Pack. They sell them in different sets. I don't know that you can get them open stock anywhere yet. I know you can get these open stock, the Aqua ones, in certain places, but I don't know if you can get these yet. But I just wanted to try, and so yeah, it's a very muted palette. So there's Vintage Rose, Lavender Light. Did I use lavender on here? I think I used Vintage Rose, Vintage Turquoise, and then I think this is like a really dark, dusty mauve. And then there was a ochre, yellow ochre one. So it's really, really muted vintage colors. So not the brightest, splashiest mandala in the world, but I don't know, kind of neat. So I did that one. And then the last one I did in here was this one. And this was kind of just some experimenting too. The background here is acrylic paint. And it is, hold on. Deco Art. So this is Deco Art Americana, and this is the winter blue color. And I've been wanting to use this, so I just thought I'd throw it on there. Now, this is matte paint. And if you'll notice, that up here, the background is shiny. So I put this matte paint down. Now, when I say background, I don't mean background inside the mandala. It's just out here. And then I thought I would throw some dragonfly glaze on top of this once it had dried. So it's the folk art dragonfly glaze. I just wanted to see what dragonfly glaze did on top of acrylic paint. And I'm not sure if it's because of the color of this winter blue. You can barely see any sparkle at all. It's like whatever mica they put in the dragonfly glaze is almost the same color as the acrylic paint. So, it's shiny because of the I think there's just a gloss kind of finish to this dragonfly glaze, but you can't really see any sparkle at all. So, experiment, right? Lesson learned. Don't put dragonfly glaze on top of Winter Blue Deco Art paint, I guess. It's really pointless, doesn't do a whole lot. And then the background of the Snowflake is alcohol marker. I think it was all the same marker. I don't remember even what color it is. It was like I think it was a Winsor Newton alcohol marker, like a blue, dark midnight blue or something like that, or storm gray. I don't know. And then white, Uniball Signo. And I used the blue and gold dual metallic, Pentel dual metallic for the, I don't know if you can see in the, not the shiny background, but within the snowflake itself, there's some sparkle. You can see that, hopefully. But it's weird because, I mean, I've used this blue gold one before, but maybe not on areas this large. I mean, not that that's a really large area, but it almost looks green, which kind of makes sense, right? You've got blue ink with gold glitter on top. It's yellow, so blue and yellow make green. But I was coloring this kind of late at night, and it's funny, in daylight and under, because I'm filming this in the day right now, looks much greener in the daylight. Whereas at night when I was coloring it, you could see the blue, but then you could see the gold glitter. I don't know. Again, just kind of a, I don't know, experiment. Just wanted to see what I could do. Well, it was more experimenting with the acrylic paint on the outside there. And then around here, and these little hexagons here, I think that's one of the blue glaze Jelly Roll pens. So, not the most exciting color combinations in the world there, but just some experimenting. So I've still got lots of mandalas left in here to experiment with. So that's cool. Having fun with this book. I did 2 pages in Rita Berman's Mein Winter Spaziergang, so the Winter Walk book. And this was the first one. So this is the Northern Lights page. So that was kind of fun to do. Lots of glitter and sparkle on here. Hopefully it's picking it up on camera. It's always hard to do that. The Northern Lights themselves were it was like a scribble blend of just some glitter gel pens. I think from that Tan Mitt set, actually. So kind of a combination of some almost like lime greens and then some pinky purples. We do get the Northern Lights here where I live, and those are the usual colors that we tend to see. Actually, lime green is probably the most common color. And then if they get sort of really bright, you'll get some pinky purples in there, but mostly you get the lime green. I kind of wish before I had started on this page that I had done something. So the black night sky background was already there, right? That's printed, so it had been printed when the book was printed. But it's not super black, and I kind of wish that I had done something to that to make it blacker and deeper before I started coloring the Northern Lights. But I mean, I kind of can't do anything now. It just kind of is what it is. But I kind of wish that I had done that. The stars have some sparkle in the sky. There's some diamond stickles. I don't know if you could pick all that up. There's like little white dots in the sky. So I just sort of made it like snow, put some diamond stickles. So there's differing sparkly bits. Different areas. I shaded. Actually, all the coloring on this page was done with Pitt pens, not the Northern Lights. That was gel pen. So this is all Pitt pen. All the shading and everything like that. That's all Pitt pen as well, except for this tree down here. We'll talk about that tree in a sec. So yeah, I did some shading on the mountains, and then I used the Spectrum Noir version of the. It's like a Wink of Stella, but it's Spectrum Noir clear. I like this for snow better because the Spectrum, or the Wink of Stella clear, the glitter in it is actually a little bit silvery, whereas this glitter is truly clear, so I like it for snow. So that's on the snow in the mountains. I'm not sure how much of the sparkle you'll actually pick up. There's so many sparkly things on the page. And then the glinting down here, I tried to make it look like the northern lights were reflecting on this ice cube thingy down here. So that's why there's some pink and green on there. I don't know if I succeeded or not. And then I went over it with the clear Jelly Roll glaze pen. So that's why it kind of glints. Like it doesn't sparkle, it actually shines because it's, yeah, clear glaze. And then I just colored the houses really simply. Figured they weren't the main attraction in the picture. It was the Northern Lights. Tried to make the Northern Lights look as though they were reflecting in the water here. Trees are reflecting. This tree, for those of you that have this book, you might be thinking, I don't remember that tree in the corner. There was a tree here, but it was like skeletal. Like there was no needles, there was no leaves on it or anything. Which would have been fine, but none of the other elements, Rita didn't, and I'm not sure, maybe I just misunderstood, she didn't extend the drawing of the other elements behind this skeletal tree. So it was a skeletal tree, but like the edge of the pond didn't extend behind it. These trees, you couldn't see behind it. It was just like there was nothing behind it, which if it's a skeletal tree, you'd see all that. At least that's how my mind and that's how my eye saw it. So I thought, well, I mean, I could sketch in the pond and I could sketch in the trees, but instead I'm just going to make this a pine tree or a spruce, one or the other. So I used some of the, what did I use to do that? Oh, the Karen, these guys here that I grabbed in my last haul. It's the Karen Pigment Deco Brush Markers. So from my understanding, I could be wrong, these are very much like the, you have to shake these. It says opaque, permanent ink, water-based. It's got a brush, like a foam brush kind of nib. And I think this is acrylic paint, maybe. So it's very similar to those acrylic paint markers that, that we have seen lots of, recently in various videos and on Amazon. I think. I could be wrong. But they're definitely opaque. So I just took a couple different, I just bought a few of these open stock, lots of greens in there. Anytime I'm going to test out a supply, if I can get it open stock, I'll just get some greens because I know I'll use those. So I took, some of these greens. I think this is olive black. I had another olive one in here, some lighter greens. And all I did was I just sort of flicked little tiny flicks along the branches here just to make it look like needles. I mean, it's not the greatest job in the world, but there we go. So that's why I created a tree there, because I don't know, otherwise I felt like I would have had to draw in some of the other elements behind, and I can't draw at all. So that's why I did that. So yeah, I had lots of fun doing that page. And then it was coming up on Valentine's Day, and I did do that other mandala in the Camellia Angelikova Valentine book. But then I thought, well, that was a pretty somber Valentine. So I thought, well, I'll do the Valentine page in Rita Berman's winter book. And this color palette and this sort of technique, I totally borrowed from, oh, I guess I better put this in because there's a lot of, hang on, a lot of sparkle on that page. I don't want sparkle to be transferring. But yeah, the color palette for this guy here, I totally borrowed from Karen, Zucchini Kitty. I mean, she's just such an amazing colorist. And she uses the most beautiful muted color palettes sometimes. She also does very bright stuff. But she had done this particular palette, it was about a year ago maybe? And she's done it, I think, a couple times. But it was on a different Rita Berman page, which I also colored. I'll show you in a sec. She had done it with polychromos pencils. And it was like a sort of a muted green, some muted peaches, muted kind of turquoise, and then some kind of brown gold colors. And then she did a distress ink background. So I sort of took inspiration from that color palette, and I tried to recreate it using mostly Pitt pens. Now, Pitt pens only come in 60 colors, and polychromos come in 120. So I didn't have Pitt pen colors to match for all the polychromos colors that she used. But I did what I could. And yeah, so that's, I put a little sparkle in there afterwards. So I think there's a little sparkle on some of the snowflakes and stars up top there. You can see that. There's a little bit of sparkle, not too much, and a little heart down there. Yeah. But it's just such a pretty, pretty palette. And the two distress ink colors for the background are Victorian Velvet and Gathered Twigs. And Karen actually combined these on the brush before she put it on the page. And then she used Gathered Twigs, and she has a different stamp than mine, but same kind of idea. It's like a spatter stamp, so it looks like droplets that someone spattered. So then I just, and she did the same. She had the Gathered Twigs that she put on the stamp, and then just stamped around the outside and kind of over top the image. So thank you, Karen, for your amazing, amazing inspiration. So I was having fun with that palette. So I thought, well, I will try the original picture that Karen had done with that palette, which is this one. But again, instead of doing it with polychromos, I'm going to try it with Pitt pens. So did the same thing there. So got a little bit of, and then I just added some, just the sparkle I added, I think was just the Jelly Roll Stardust, the clear one. So a little bit in there, and then I sparkled a little bit around the bottom there. So hopefully that gets picked up. There we go. A little bit around the bottom of the, I don't know if it's an Easter egg. I don't know what this, because this is, of course, is Rita Berman's I can't pronounce that, Frühlings Spaziergang. I'm sorry, I probably said that wrong. The Spring Walk book. So that could be a little Easter egg. Some pussy willows here on the side. Yeah. I just was really enjoying, I don't know, my brain is kind of like that. It's like I'll do something once and then I need to do it a couple more times. It's like, I don't know. My brain needs to work out the hiccups from the first couple times that I do it. I don't really know. So there's that page. And then I thought, I need to try this one more time. So I got out Worlds of Wonder. And I also tried something else. Like I say, it's just kind of been an experimenting month for me. I had been using, this isn't the page, but this is something I use on the page. I had been using drawing gum to cover up parts of images or whole images before I use ink for background. And it is very effective. And it's kind of a pain putting the gum on, but then, I don't know, you feel kind of much more free when you're doing your ink work. Like, you don't have to avoid getting, or try to avoid getting ink, excuse me, frog in my throat today, in, places you don't want it. But putting drawing gum on is kind of a pain, and then sometimes when you go to take it off, I don't know, sometimes it pulls up little bits of paper. It's very tough. I had totally forgotten that, I don't know, a year or two ago, I had purchased this. So this is Artool, Artool, Artool. And this is, they call it Frisket film for airbrushing, masking, and stenciling. So it's a low tack, soft peel, self-adhesive masking film. And it has, let's take the cover paper off here. Comes on this roll. So you just unroll it. I don't know if you can see this. You can actually see through it. Can you see that? So if you have an image where it's not going to work, it actually wouldn't work terribly well for an image like this, because you kind of need an image where everything is all in one that you're going to mask, right? Because what you have to do is put this over top, and I usually cut a piece off before, sort of measure it out. Trace with, I think I was using a fine Sharpie, fine tip Sharpie. So trace the outline of whatever it is you want to mask, cut that out, and then this is actually 2 layers, so it peels. And the paper backing, it's very hard to get to peel. I don't know if I can get it to peel. Oh, there we go. So the paper backing peels off, if you can see that. And then this is sticky, but it's a very low tack stick because it's meant to be peeled off. So I thought, well, I'm going to try this stuff on an image where it's not a whole bunch of, because if you did that here, I mean, you'd be fussy cutting right around all of these. It just, I think masking fluid would work better on something like this. But for an image like that, it's pretty much, it's all one, right? You can just trace the outline of this and mask this whole thing, do your ink work, and then peel the mask off. So I thought, well, give it a try. So that's what this is. I just saved it just to show you. And I just saved it by sticking it on a piece of copy paper, but it still peels up, fairly easily off the copy paper. I'm not going to save this because, I mean, unless I had an image that was exactly this shape, I really can't use this again. So I guess if I had another copy of this book, which I think I do, and I wanted to do this image again, I could reuse this. But yeah, I think most of what you would do, it's probably hard to see against the white, but most of the masking you would do would kind of be one and done. But I'd totally forgotten. I was rearranging my shelves and I found it. Totally forgotten I had it. So give it a try. And it worked really well. It peels up really nicely. It didn't, it didn't pull up any of the paper. So yeah, trying the same color palette again. Again with Pitt pens. Tried something a little different with the leaves. Instead of coloring with the Pitt pens, I painted with them. But I don't know if I like the effect. So I don't know if I'll do a video. I mean, I can. But yeah, I just am not sure if I enjoy the effect. I think I tilted my light. Hang on. There. Sorry about that. What I did was I took the smooth side of my Caran d'Ache palette. This one here. There's a rough side and the smooth side. And I scribbled my Pitt pen on the smooth side and then picked it up with a water brush. One like this. Just a water brush. And then picked it up with that and painted. But I don't know. It was hard to control. I don't know if you can see that or not. It gets very... It's almost like it tries to granulate, which doesn't make any sense. Or maybe it does, I don't know. Pitt pens do have India ink in them. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not. I mean, it's I'm being picky. But, yeah. I don't know if I would do that again. I might try it again, painting with Pitt pens, just to see. Shading with the painted Pitt pens was hard. And it was interesting because Pitt pens are... they're permanent once they dry, but they weren't permanent once they dried on here, interestingly. So I could scribble out, you know, a Pitt pen color. It would dry on here so that if I took my thumb and rubbed over, it wouldn't come off. But if I used the water brush, I could sort of reactivate it and then still pick it up, which was interesting. But yeah, when I tried to put darker colors over top to shade, it was like, I don't know, it just didn't work real well. But yeah, it was an experiment. The background here got a little browner than I intended. I kind of wanted, I think I should have had more of the Victorian velvet in the mix, but that's okay. So I put that mask on. I did all the ink work here. I think I even did the stamping with the spatter stamp before I took that mask off. And I tried to do a little bit of a bokeh, B-O-K-E-H effect, where you've got like the clear or white circles you see in the background there. And all I did for that was, once the distress ink was dry, I took this, which is it's just a helix stencil, circle stencil I have, and it's got different sizes of circles, and you can draw circles. And all I did was I put circle stencil down, and I took a water brush and just wet inside whatever size circle, and then took a piece of paper towel and dabbed it off, and then picked it up, because of course it's distress ink, so it lifted it. So that's how I did that. And tried to do a little bit more painting with Pitt pens on the flowers. Didn't really work, so then I just started using the Pitt pens directly on the page. Used the Pitt pens directly on the page for the butterflies. I tried to do like an antique gold kind of effect with some Pitt pens. I don't know if it worked out or not. And then on the bottom there, like a, yeah, kind of an antique gold. Kind of blending and shading. It was fun. I put a little bit of sparkle on the butterflies. Not very much. I don't know if it'll even pick it up. I think I used that clear Spectrum Noir, like the Wink of Stella, but it's the Spectrum Noir, so it's not super glittery. So I don't know if I'll pick it up there or not. Maybe. Maybe not. I think that's the only place I put any glitter. I think. Oh no, maybe I put a little bit of glitter on the little bit of scroll work on the bottom. Again, I don't know if you'll pick it up. But I was just having fun with that color palette that Zucchini Kitty had so wonderfully shared on her channel. That kind of peach, turquoise, muted green. And then I did the glass in here. I thought about putting a layer of clear, like glossy accents over top, but I don't know, I just left it. I also thought about putting, you know, you can put sort of lines to indicate glass, but I'm never sure about that. I'm always really nervous about not getting them in the right place. And then if you're doing them with like a gel pen, then if you put it in the wrong place, how do I get it off? So I just left it. So hopefully it still looks like it's glass and it's in glass, but I don't know. I didn't sort of make any indication that it was glass there. And that, I think, is it. I had one more that I was working on just at the end of February, and I thought that I would get it done, but it's from a book entitled, I think it's called something about Insanely Intricate. It did not get done. So I'll have to include that one in my March completed pages. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is well. I hope everybody's enjoying their coloring. And if you like what you see, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, leaving a comment, letting a friend know that you found a channel and they might like it too. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.